What's up, a Cinema Shogun here, and I know a lot about this Ezra Miller situation that I cannot say just yet. What I will say is in the next coming days, I will be releasing some of this information, and I'm warning you all right now, a lot of it is very disturbing. However, there are a few things that I want to get off my chest here tonight because I have noticed some odd behavior. And interestingly enough, it hasn't been coming from Ezra Miller. In fact, it's the exact opposite. It's the exact opposite. Now, when it comes to this Ezra Miller situation, I know a lot of you all just became aware of his odd and disturbing behavior recently. However, I have been following this behavior for years now. I know some of you all know that I am a huge Marvel Comics fan and a huge DC Comics fan. So I first started following Ezra Miller's behavior when he signed on to be the Flash in the DC Comics movies. And over the past few years, there has been so many disturbing, questionable, odd, weird things happening with Ezra Miller. From multiple assaults to multiple arrests, and that's just to say the least. Now, this latest situation, I think we all know, is that this family came forward with allegations about Ezra Miller grooming their daughter from the age of 12 to the age of 18. Now, this information did not come as a surprise to me because, like I said, I've been following his behavior for a while now. And I saw this coming from literally a mile away. However, I think I started taking this situation more seriously than a lot of people did because I was aware of how Ezra Miller is. So once I saw this news, I immediately became very concerned for Takada's life. And I'm not saying just for Takada's well-being, for Takada's life. I do believe that Ezra Miller is capable of almost anything, including taking his own or someone else's life. So I was extremely concerned about this situation. And immediately, I wanted to raise awareness about the situation. But I did not just start talking about this Ezra Miller situation as soon as these grooming allegations came forward. In fact, you can go back on my channel. The first video I made about Ezra Miller was when he smashed a woman in the head with a chair and threatened to kill another. So you can go back and watch that video if you want. That's just proof that I've been talking about the situation well before these allegations came out. Once these allegations came out, though, I grew really concerned, and I immediately reached out to the family of Takada, letting them know that I'm here for them. If they need a platform to get their story out, they could use mine. And I tried to be as helpful as possible. Because they were saying things like, no one cares that our daughter is missing, and because she's indigenous, no one really cares about the situation, and all that type of stuff. And I was letting them know, hey, I care. Hey, I'll get your story told. I mean, I'm not the biggest YouTuber in the world, but I got 50-something thousand subscribers. I'm sure that me and my subscribers and my supporters can help spread the word about your daughter. However, it fell on deaf ears. No one ever contacted me back. And you know what? They didn't have to contact me back. I was okay with that. Although it was like, okay, you're claiming that no one's trying to help you. Here I am trying to help you, and you didn't even so much as write me back. So I found that just slightly odd, but then I chalked it up to, hey, these parents are going through a really crazy time right now. Their daughter is missing. Maybe they don't know who they can talk to, who they should talk to. Maybe they just don't want to talk to anyone right now. So I was like, okay, I guess that's maybe the case. You know what I mean? So I just chalked it up to that. I tried not to think too much about the situation. Hours and days went by, and I started noticing that Takada's mother was posting on social media asking people if they had any information about Ezra or her daughter or anything that could help to reach out to her. I reached out to her. Some of my friends reached out to her. Some of you all reached out to her. None of us got a reply. And that was weird because I knew on multiple occasions, I guess I could say this now, on multiple occasions, I knew the location of Takada and of Ezra. And I will get to that later on in this video. But I knew where they were at on multiple occasions, and when I tried to reach out, I was shut down. But like I said, We will get to that later in the video. Forgive me if I'm all over the place. I'm going to try to give you everything as it happened. So she would say stuff like, if you have information or anything like that, reach out to me. And I had information. I knew other people with information. It got so bad to the point that people had information, credible information at that, about Takata and about Ezra, and they were reaching out to this family, but they weren't getting any replies. They didn't know if they were even getting the message, so they're reaching out to me to tell me so I could spread the word for all of you all. That's how the situation was playing out. And that's what really made me really raise my eyebrows, because it's almost like if someone puts a missing poster up and it's like, hey, my child is missing. If you have any information to call, 1-800 blah, blah, blah. And then you dial the number and you're like, hey, I think I know where your kid is at. And then they hang up in your face. You know what I mean? So it was really weird to me that you're out here supposedly fishing for information online, but when people are really reaching out to you with information, you're not even writing them back. Now, I was told early on when I let it be known that I reached out to this family, a lot of people reached out to me. A few people who live where these people live on the reservation or whatever. I don't know what people call it these days. Words for things change over time. I call it a reservation. So people who lived on this reservation, they were reaching out to me. And they were telling me, hey, Takata's parents are never going to talk to you because they don't like white people. They don't like outsiders. They're not going to talk to you unless you shower them with gifts, maybe give you some money or give them some money or something like that. That's the only way you're going to get through to these people. And that's the only way that Ezra was able to talk to them in the first place. Now, I'm not going to buy you a freaking present to tell you where your missing daughter is. I'm not going to give you money to tell you where your missing daughter is. If my kid was missing, I want to talk and tell everybody. And if someone has information, I want to hear it from everybody. But I wasn't getting that vibe from them. In fact, I was getting the vibe that they were blatantly ignoring stuff on purpose. Now, maybe I'm reaching here and maybe I'm wrong. And I hope I'm wrong. But I was just getting this weird vibe because, we're all reaching out. It's falling on deaf ears. And then it would be like the next day you post another social media post asking people for information or talking about how you miss your daughter. Yet here we are trying to tell you stuff and you're ignoring us or you're reading it and not replying. So it became weird. But like I said, people were telling me, hey, they're not going to talk to you because they're stuck in these certain ways and they don't really like white people. They don't like outsiders and this and that. But I will say I did have another person reach out to me and they told me that's not really the case and what have you. So I'm not really sure what's going on. Neither do I care. I'm not here to tackle racial relations. I'm not here to talk about the animosity that you may have towards a certain group of people because of what happened in history. I wasn't alive back then. Neither were you. I'm here to help you with your missing daughter. I don't care about all this race stuff. So I dismissed it and I moved forward. And I noticed about a day later, Takata's father was getting attacked on Twitter. Now, every time Takata's mother or Takata's father posts about Takata or asking for help for Takata, I rarely see anyone in their community coming to support them. Like Takata's mother will make a post about Takata and you'll look at the comments and they'll all be from Ezra Miller fans just attacking them. Rarely are people from like their tribe or their family or whatever stepping up and saying anything. So I found that odd too because it didn't seem like they had much support from their fellow natives or whatever they want to call them. So their comment sections would just be full of people attacking them, Ezra Miller fans attacking them. And I noticed that Takata's father was on his second social media profile. He runs something, I think it's called The Last Real Indians. I believe it's kind of like a news site for where he lives or something like that. He was on that account arguing with Ezra Miller fans who were saying all this stuff about him. And I chose to come to his defense. I exchanged some mean words with Ezra Miller fans, and I let him know who I was. He acknowledged that I replied, and then I let him know, hey, I'm a YouTuber. I'm covering this story. I'm trying to do my best to get as many eyes on it as possible to raise awareness that your daughter is missing and how bad this story is. I believe up until this point, I'm still the only channel on YouTube who has dived all the way into the Ezra Miller story. There's so much stuff that other YouTubers are scared to talk about because you'll immediately be demonetized or your video might get taken down if you reveal the specifics of what's going on with Ezra Miller. But I'm not so sure. I know at the time I was. People have probably copied the information now, but I believe the first person that was online spreading the real facts about what happened between Ezra and Takata directly from these parents' mouths. So I let them know who I was, and then radio silence. I'm literally like, hey, I'm here to support you. Obviously, I'm here arguing with Ezra Miller fans, telling them to back off of this dude. I'm letting him know, I'm covering the story, what have you. Radio silence. And that made me raise my eyebrows as well, because he goes on, even under my comments, telling him who I am, that I support him, that I'm trying to help him find his daughter. He goes on and argues with Ezra Miller fans, but never acknowledges my comment. And I was just like, okay, at this point, you're purposely avoiding talking to me about this situation. That's what it looks like, at least. It looks like you're purposely avoiding talking to me about the situation. And I was just thinking, well, why is that? If you go back, and you can go back on all of my Ezra Miller videos, I have been extremely respectful of these parents. There's one thing, and only one thing, everyone has in common with this Ezra Miller story. Everyone is calling out Takata's parents. Ezra Miller fans are saying Takata's parents are full of ish. And people who are not on Ezra Miller's side are saying that the parents are bad parents for allowing their kid to be groomed from the age of 12 all the way up until 18 right in front of their eyes without saying anything until it was too late. I tried to hammer home the point that, hey, listen, these are very unique circumstances here. Ezra Miller had this family fooled that he was non-binary and he didn't like women, he didn't like girls. He tried to cling to their beliefs, and he knew that they were activists, and he tried to act like he was an activist and he was fighting for their cause. And this was just a really unique situation. It's not what you think. I was trying to defend Takata's parents as much as I could. Although I'll admit, hell yeah, it's odd that they allowed this to happen to their child right in front of their face. And they were allowing Ezra, a grown man, to run around with their 12-year-old daughter. Yeah, that's odd. Obviously, that's odd. But I tried my hardest to give these people every benefit of the doubt I could, and I tried to be as respectful as possible. And I'm still going to do that moving forward. This video isn't to be disrespectful. This video is to be fully transparent and honest with my audience because I owe them that. So it was like, okay, something's going on here. You're blatantly ignoring this on purpose. Not only is your wife blatantly ignoring information that would help her find her daughter, you're blatantly ignoring me trying to support you in this situation. And I was like, hey, either what these people, maybe it's true. Maybe these people really don't like white people. Maybe they don't really like outsiders. Or maybe, just maybe, they don't want someone like me poking around the situation because they have some skeletons in their closet or something that they're not being truthful about or something that they want to hide. Because if you watch my videos, there's one thing that you will notice, that I'm not going to sugarcoat anything for anyone. I'm not here to protect anyone's feelings. And if they were guilty of something, I would call them out on it. And I believe if you watch even one or two of my videos, you would realize I'm that type of person. And I'm the type of person that I'm going to be honest. And I'm going to try to get to the bottom of a situation. So I really got the feeling that, okay, either these people are hateful people that hate white people, or they don't want someone like me, or maybe anyone for that matter, poking around in this story. So that's, it really started, I was really like at a loss for words. As you can tell, I was at a loss for words because never have I ever tried to help someone whose child is missing. And it's basically like, hey, we want all the information we could get, but not from you. Oh, and not from you either. In fact, we're going to say we want information, but then when you give us information, we don't really want it. So it just became really odd for me. Now, Takata's parents, to give you a little backstory about them, they are far left-wing activists. And I'm not saying that to get political, I'm just stating the facts. Takata's parents are far left-wing activists. Me personally, I try not to get into politics too much. I don't consider myself left-wing or right-wing, liberal or conservative. In fact, you could ask me how I feel about one situation, and by my answer, you may be like, oh, he's a Democrat. Then you ask me how I feel about another situation, and my answer would make you think I'm a Republican. I get accused of being both all the time, and it's always weird to me. It's always really weird to me because I'm an open-minded person. I'm an extremely open-minded person. And I'm not someone who is 100% stuck in my ways. My opinions on things can change if I'm presented with different information. There's only one thing that I am really, really firmly solid on. I have a really solid stance on one thing. And that is to leave kids the hell alone. Allow kids to be kids. I don't agree with you introducing all of these adult themes to kids. I don't agree with the over-sexualization of kids. I don't believe in using kids for your political battles. I hate it. I want kids to be allowed to be kids how I was allowed to be a kid. However, these days it seems like kids aren't allowed to be kids. In fact, the other day, sorry I'm going off on a little bit of a tangent here. The other day I was accused of being a far right-wing extremist because I didn't agree with people taking their kids to the bar to watch drag queens strip. Yeah. I thought that was something we all had in common. Maybe you support left-wing policies, maybe you support right-wing policies. Can we all agree that kids shouldn't be at drag shows? Well, apparently not. Apparently, at least some people will accuse you of belonging to a certain political party if you're against that. And why is that? Can someone let me know? I'm sorry. If you're a Democrat, a liberal, a left-wing person, it's all cool. I have no problem with that. Let me know down in the comments below, what is up with this? If you're against kids like being over-sexualized, now you're considered right-wing? Why isn't this something that we all have in common? You know, if someone were to take their kids to a January 6th protest, I would have something to say about it. If someone took their kids to a BLM protest, I would have something to say about it. I just want people to allow kids to be kids. However, it seems to me like Takata's parents weren't interested in allowing Takata to be a kid. In fact, it looked to me, or at least it looks to me like, they tried to turn Takata into like the cute child face, like mascot of whatever, movement they were getting behind at the moment. They basically used Takata as a child activist. They were shaping Takata into being the new celebrity child activist. That's exactly what was happening. They were trying to turn her into the Native American Greta Thunberg. There's even pictures out there of her next to Greta Thunberg. So they took Takata to all of these adult-like situations and placed her in all of these adult-like scenarios. And I don't care what you say. I've been to protest. I've been to protest on both sides. I've been caught in the middle of protest. I've been stuck in traffic behind people blocking the road. Protests are not a place for kids. They will never be a place for kids. Let alone you trying to shape your young child into the face of whatever movement you're getting behind at the moment. So it appears to me that Takata's parents were trying to shape her into this new celebrity activist kid, and she wasn't allowed to be a kid. So this was destined to happen. When you take your kids to these crazy protests and you're introducing them to all of these adults and they're fighting these adult-like movements for what? Allow your kid to go home and watch Saturday morning cartoons and eat some fucking cereal. Yet Takata's out here with a bullhorn yelling at other adults like she knows better than everyone else. I really don't agree with that in the least bit. But I say they were shaping Takata into the celebrity activist because that's what they were doing. In fact, Takata even had her own Marvel comic book. That's right, folks. Takata is actually somewhat famous in herself. Takata had a Marvel comic book written after her. So in Takata's parents' eyes, she was going to be the new face of what they believed in. Not what Takata believed in, but what they believed in. Takata was going to be the new face to fight the fight. Takata was going to be that innocent kid that they used to get their messages across. Not Takata's messages, but their messages across. Takata was going to be nothing more than a conduit, an avatar for them to spread their political and social beliefs. And I find that weird because they literally allowed Takata to have a comic book. You know, Marvel is a big company. Marvel is owned by Disney. Disney films movies overseas next to literal slave encampments. No joke. Disney literally films movies next to concentration camps and slave camps. So everything that Takata's parents supposedly fight against, that's what Marvel and Disney stand for. So I always find that odd. I really find it odd when activists don't realize that their movements have been hijacked. Listen, activism in itself is directly against the establishment and big corporations. Once you have the establishment, the government, big corporations flying your little flags and using your hashtags, your movement has already been hijacked. You better go ahead and get the hell out of there because it's no longer about what you are fighting for. I understand there are things out there to protest about. I have nothing against the right to protest, the right to demonstrate how you feel. I'm all for it. I just don't think it's for kids. But make no mistake about it, there have been a lot of movements in recent history. There's some going on right now. It's been happening for years. And they get hijacked. You think they start out for good reasons, but in reality, you wind up being a guinea pig. Like I said, activism is directly against the establishment. Activism is anti-establishment. So when you have the government backing your cause and you have big corporations, Coca-Cola and Disney and stuff backing your cause, you no longer have a cause. You're now just a pawn in their game. They've now hijacked your movement and they're using it for their own agendas. So I find it odd that Takata's parents are marching their kid around like a celebrity, having them do these comic books when these comic books are made by the corporations that are taking the most land that these people are supposedly fighting for. It's all, and none of it makes sense. None of it makes sense, but that's how these activist minds work. And make no mistake about it, Takata's parents put Takata in this situation. I want you all to understand. What I'm saying here, I'm not saying here that everything I said about Ezra Miller is wrong. I still believe everything that I said about Ezra Miller. I still believe Takata is in danger. That her life is in danger. Anyone around Ezra Miller, their life is in danger, and Ezra Miller is a danger to his own life. That hasn't changed. The only thing I'm questioning now is the motive behind Takata's parents. Because it's looking to me like it's not really about the fact that their kid got groomed. It's more about the fact that, oh, now we've lost control and we can no longer have Takata as the face of our social justice movements. That's what it's starting to look like. Because when you have people reaching out to you and it's either radio silence or your people are being hateful to them, then it's really going to raise some eyebrows. The latest situation that happened with Takata's parents happened earlier today. Earlier today, Takata's mother put out this message about Takata and wanting Takata to come home and wanting information about Ezra Miller and Takata again. which was weird because this has been going on for weeks now. We've all reached out. I've known, let me go ahead and get to that part. I've known Ezra and Takada's location on multiple occasions. They've gotten really, let's just say, they've gotten really loose with how they've been moving. I have people on the inside. I have about a half a dozen people who are infiltrated or have infiltrated Ezra Miller's little fan base. I even have someone who's reached out to me that is close with Takada, who's really concerned about Takada's life. So I have people on the inside. I have information that I'm getting. Also, Ezra Miller and Takada have slipped up on multiple occasions. Takada was just in Tulsa, Oklahoma a few days ago. And she just hopped on a Delta flight not too long ago as well. So there's people out there that know where Takada's at. I'm not convinced that Takada's parents don't even know where she's at. That's what's really weird. Is because if I'm able to find Takada's location, then I feel like the parents can find Takada's location. And the same people that have reached out to me with Takada's location have reached out to her parents with Takada's location, yet they didn't get any information from the parents. The parents would not even acknowledge that they existed. Sorry, there's people shooting off fireworks. Happy 4th of July. This is what I'm doing on 4th of July weekend. But anyway, so Takada's mother puts out this post asking for information about Takada and what have you, which comes across as total BS at this point because I've tried to reach out for over a month now. And then one of her people, I guess from the reservation or whatever, they were like, hey, Takada's going to come around. Don't worry. Just give it time. Takada's going to find her way and Takada will be back. In which I replied, hey, Ezra Miller is forming a little cult, a little army of kids. He's giving them weapons and he's convincing them that they're about to go to war with the Klan, which is true. If that comes as a shock to you, you might want to check my past videos. Ezra Miller has Takada and a bunch of other young kids convinced that they're all going to wage war against the Klan and the FBI and all of these other organizations. He's even given them weapons and he's even taken them to locations to fight battles that never happened. So I just made it be known, like, hey, I don't know if we have time for Takada to find her way back home. This is a serious situation. Ezra's armed and dangerous, and he's putting Takada and her life at risk. And you want to know what I was told? Hey, I'm a native, and I'm talking to a native woman. Thanks. And I'm like, what? What? Basically, I came to give you all information about Takada, and you just tried to dismiss me because I'm not native. It literally happened. Oh, you got information about my child missing? Oh, you do? Well, guess what? You're not Native American, so get the F out of here. That's basically the vibe I was getting. I can read between the lines. So basically, it was like, hey, you're not native. I'm a native addressing another native. Don't speak to us. While I'm literally trying to transfer information to these people about someone from their land or their tribe or their family that's missing. So I'm like, okay, well, what does this have to do with race? I'm just trying to let Takada's mother know that Takada was in Tulsa, Oklahoma, and then this is how they replied. It's everything about race. It's all about race. All of this is about race. So here I am trying to tell them, hey, I know where Takada was a couple of days ago. And they're lecturing me about how white people are bad and white people are to blame for everything and that indigenous women go missing more than white women. And I'm like, okay, cool. I'm not here to fight about race. I'm here to tell you that this indigenous woman who you seem to fake be concerned about, I know where she's at or where she was just at. And I'm trying to tell you all. But they're like, no, we don't want to hear it. We don't want to hear it. I wish I could pull up the conversation, but these people blocked me. And they're still online trying to talk trash about me. Maybe I'll create another account just so I can go get the screenshots. But it's like I got attacked for trying to help them figure out where this girl is. All of these people who seem to be concerned about where this girl is, I'm trying to help you find her. And y'all are coming at me, attacking me because I'm not a Native American. So it was a really weird situation. Never in all of my days have I ever attempted to help someone find a missing kid and then I get attacked. You know, I've spent hours covering this Ezra Miller story. The longest video I have on my channel is the Ezra Miller stuff because I've really been concerned about their daughter. I've really been concerned. And I've done my best to get the truth out there, the actual truth. I've risked my channel by telling the real truth about Ezra Miller. Because YouTube doesn't want us to talk about all of this gender stuff. YouTube doesn't want us to talk down about trans people grooming people and Ezra using, labels to protect himself. No, that can get you kicked off of YouTube. So I bring up the fact that, hey, I don't think she's okay. I don't think we have time necessarily for this girl to figure herself out when she's riding around with some dude who's starting a cult telling them that they're about to go to war. I don't think we have time for this girl to find herself. Honestly, if you want my honest opinion, I think this whole situation is going to end in a mass casualty event like that we've seen a lot of cults do if something isn't done about this. So I'm like, yeah, Ezra Miller, he convinced Dakota that she's fighting this war against the Klan. And then one person from the tribe comes at me and is like, hey, you would never, you're too chicken shit to fight white supremacists. And I was like, what? What? So me telling them that Takada has been traveling with Ezra Miller to locations to fight the Klan and the FBI. The only thing they had to say back to that is that I'm too chicken shit to do it myself. Huh? Basically, it's like, what? I'm sorry, I don't even know what to say in this point. Because it's still blowing my mind. I'm like, hey, Ezra is telling your daughter that they're about to go to war with the Klan. In fact, this is information that you actually shared with us. Takada's parents are the ones that alerted to us to the fact that this was going on in the first place. Yeah, I'm being told I'm too chicken shit to fight white supremacists because what? So it's an incredibly crazy situation. And I'm realizing that what some people were saying is true. A lot of these people are extremely racist and they extremely hate white people. And the vibe I got, and it's not even the vibe, what happened was I was basically told that I wasn't wanted here covering this situation. I wasn't wanted to talking about the situation. And then they tried to throw a bunch of race stuff at me and tried to argue with me about race and all type of other things. Meanwhile, I'm literally just trying to give this woman information about her missing kid. And as I'm sitting here thinking about the situation right now as I record this video, it's just an extremely messed up situation. I can't fathom people actually acting like that to anyone who's trying to help. Unless there's something to be hidden here. There's something to hide, And I don't want to accuse this family of having anything to hide. And I don't want to accuse this family of anything because this is a tough situation. But I also can't ignore the red flags. I didn't want to make this video. This stuff that's been going on, it's been happening over the last couple of weeks. And it was like I was raising my eyebrows over and over and over again. Like, okay, now the family's talking to the mainstream media, which is largely responsible for creating the monster that is Ezra Miller. Make no mistake about it. Ezra Miller is a walking, breathing, talking point that was created directly by the mainstream media and all of these like movements that are going on in today's world. So it was weird to me that they wanted to talk to the mainstream media, someone who is interested in protecting Ezra Miller, make no mistake about it. That's why Ezra Miller has been allowed to keep his job. That's why all of this stuff has been swept underneath the rug. So they go talk to the mainstream media, yet they're not even talking to regular people who are reaching out with the location of their daughter. So it's like almost as if they're trying to squeeze the last bit of activism juice out of their daughter that they can. Like, hey, we can no longer use our daughter as the face of our movement. We can no longer raise awareness to the political things that we care about by using our daughter, on the front lines of our activism. So now, maybe we could raise awareness about these social justice issues by telling the mainstream media our daughter is missing, when in reality we don't care. We only want the attention on all of our activism. Because if you go on their social media profiles, it's like, hey, help me, my daughter's missing. Political opinion. Raising awareness for this movement. Activist opinion, activism. Hey, my daughter's missing, activism. So it's like you're kind of juggling being an activist while juggling your kid being missing. And I know you could be concerned about two things at once, but like, hey, if my kid's missing, I'm not sitting here talking about my political opinions. I'm not going to sit on Twitter all day arguing with the other side of whatever political beliefs I have while my kid is missing and in the arms of a freaking weirdo like Ezra Miller. So it's really apparent to me that while maybe it is important to them for them to find their kid, it's just as important to them to keep going with their activism messages. So it's like, here we have this missing kid, and it's almost like you're trying to raise awareness for this situation without people actually trying to help or looking into the situation. You get my drift? Because the mainstream media, they aren't interested in really getting to the specifics of what's going on with Ezra Miller. In fact, they shy away from it. Anyone can tell you, if you want your story getting out there, you need to talk to people on social media. The mainstream media is not your friend. The mainstream media created Ezra Miller. And these parents are probably too afraid to admit that because their activism has directly created Ezra Miller. Ezra Miller took advantage of them and how passionate they are about whatever they're activists about and used it to prey on their kid. And it seems like up until a certain point, they allowed it to happen. Takada's uncle's wife says that she saw an underage Takada well before she turned 18. I believe she was around 14 at the time, having sex with Ezra Miller on a mattress outside while they were setting up a ceremony. So this family knew that Ezra was grooming their daughter. And it almost looks to me like they allowed it to happen up until they realized, hey, we can no longer benefit off of this. Now that Takada's run off with Ezra and she's changed into a man and she's growing a mustache, we can no longer benefit from this situation. So now the only thing we could do is now say, hey, call out all the stuff that we knew was happening from the beginning. You know what? I didn't want to have to take it there, but it's looking that way. And like I said, I'm going to be honest with all of you all, the people who support me. I tried to support these people. I tried to help these people. And the door is still open. Sarah, Chase, if you're watching this video, If you want to tell the story about your daughter, you're always welcome to do it here on this channel, any other channel, I don't care. But it's really looking suspect to me. It's really looking suspect to me at this point. And the hateful stuff that is being said by your people towards me for trying to help your daughter, I find that really odd. And y'all know it's happening, but y'all aren't saying anything about it. Y'all aren't calling these people out. It's happening right underneath your social media profiles. So yeah, folks, I'm really raising my eyebrow at these parents. I know all of you all said it from the beginning, and I was trying to be nice. Of course, it's a red flag. It was a red flag for me from the beginning, but I'm not here to have a conversation about how Takata's parents are probably shitty parents. I'm here to make sure that Takata's okay. But now I'm just getting this vibe that Takata's parents aren't in it to really make sure that Takata's okay. They're in it for more clout, for whatever little movement they're going along with at the moment. Because these people are obsessed with their activism. Anybody that allows their young child to be the face of their movements, they've gone too far off the deep end. Getting radicalized too far left or too far right, it's never a good thing. That's why I try to stay as in the middle as possible. Yet I feel like there is this push that if you call out grooming, if you call out over-sexualizing kids, that people are trying to lump you over here to the right. And I don't understand that. Yet here we have these left-wing activists, they're calling out grooming, and guess what? No one's coming to their defense. None of their little left-wing activist buddies are coming to their defense. Most of the people on the reservation aren't coming to their defense. They're getting attacked 24/7 from all sides. And now I kind of understand why. After the disrespect I was shown today for trying to help you all, it really puts a bad taste in my mouth. And it shows me who the real racists and bigots are. The people who scream the loudest about racial relations are the real racists. Y'all are the ones that are caught up on race. Because I'm white, or because you assume that I'm white, or I'm not native or whatever, you all did not care about the information that I had about your daughter. Or you all don't want people poking around this story. Now, like I said, I do have more information about this story, a lot of it, some of which the parents could have had, but hey, I guess you all will find out before them. And that will happen in the coming days. But for now, I think I'm going to go ahead and end this rant. And I'm going to go play some Mario. Let me know your thoughts about this in the comments below. Like I said, this changes nothing about how I feel about Ezra Miller and about the situation. I'm extremely still scared for Takata. I don't trust Ezra Miller. This isn't a defense of Ezra Miller. Ezra Miller is still a monster. I'm just calling out these parents because I'm not so sure about their motives anymore. And I mean, if you're going to have people attacking me when I'm trying to give you information about your daughter, I'm going to say something about it. So it is what it is. But like I said, let me know your thoughts about this down in the comments below. While you're down there, hit that thumbs up button, hit that subscribe button, ring that notification bell, and I'll talk to you all in the next video.